to talk about Dynasty wide receivers to buy. Bob, we had you go last for the win now running backs. Let's have you go first now.
So if we're rebuilding, I'll start there. I think I don't know how cheap I'm going to get it for, right? But Marvin Harrison Jr. coming off a super disappointing season. Matt Waldman, not sure that he'll ever be the guy that everyone thought he was going to be coming in. Well, I don't need him to be if I get him at the right price, but he is going to be a thing. And I think there is going to be progress in the second year. There's no doubt about it. I'm always looking for the discount, right? And if we're looking for players who came up short, who let people down, look for somebody with, who has him on their roster, who maybe has a need in another position that you can have. You have a surplus. I'm looking for him. I think the targets will be fine. There were some games where they actually forced him the ball, and it worked out reasonably well for him. Thinking Buffalo maybe could have done it the whole game, guys. Would have been a record-setting week, but
would have been nice.
But that's been the problem, right? And I know Trey McBride's going to be viewed as a limiting factor there in terms of drawing targets. I don't know that that's really a problem. I think people will overplay that, and maybe I can get a little better deal. But this is the key for me is getting it on the cheap. And I think a guy coming off a disappointing season, an offense where people are a little worried about what kind of targets he's going to get, but do it before the draft, because if the Cardinals add somebody, it's going to be more worrisome for people.
Yep. He is currently going 102 wins some noise. So really it boils down to Marvin Harrison Jr. Or do you want to roll the dice again with Tet McMillan?
No.
How do you feel about that?
No. Said this is going to be startling news for anybody who's familiar with my work. I don't know what college football is, but because I work on NFL, and so it's like a full-time thing. So, but if I'm going to watch some college football, my hometown Arizona Wildcats back in Tucson would be the team. So I might have seen young Tet McMillan, and look, there's a resemblance, a passing resemblance to like a Drake London type player. I get it. I'm not trusting it. I would rather take a chance on Marvin Harrison Jr.
All right. That's good to hear. If you guys want more rookie insights, head over to footballguys.com. Check out the rookie guide. Bob has been editing thousands and thousands of words that I'm spewing out, talking about everybody from, Konata Mumpfield to Andrew Armstrong. If you want to get real deep, we get deep over there. So check out
the Arkansas product coming out of nowhere. And yes, all the words have been fantastic, Mike. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. I write sometimes. I talk too much. While I talk too much, Evan, it's your turn.
All right. Could I interest you in a wide receiver that September of 2024 was ranked as the wide receiver 14, Mike?
Yep. Oh, I know where you're going. I'm in.
Okay. Wide receiver that's coming off of injury. Maybe needed a little bit of time to get revamped back into this offense. A wide receiver that just lost his wide receiver mate. Should be the clear one at wide receiver. Maybe has a tight end competing for him. That role and most receptions, most targets. We're gonna go with Brandon Aiyuk here because our friends over at Fantasy Calc have him as wide receiver 33 now. All right.
Despicable.
You go back to September, and we're talking a guy that was ranked at wide receiver 14, 15, right in that range, right in the mid-teens. All right. That is a huge drop-off from a guy coming back from injury. He's in the San Francisco offense. Everybody still loves the San Francisco offense. They've lost some major pieces this offseason. Do not get that wrong. All right. Jennings took a step forward last year. We saw what he could do when he was on the field. Everybody's darling is Pearsall. The best wide receiver of this group is Brandon Aiyuk, and he still has Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, who is not going to be irrelevant after he makes millions and millions of dollars playing quarterback for the 49ers with that next contract that's coming his way. And looking at this, Kittle is still there. Yes. McCaffrey is probably going to look better than last season catching balls out of the backfield. Sure, you can make that argument too. They still need somebody on the outside. Brandon Aiyuk showed that he can do it on the outside. He showed that he can win. And then you go and you try and look at what he historically had produced in 23 and 22. You're looking at a guy that eclipsed over 1,000 yards. Now he doesn't have Debo there.
Evan, we're in. We were in 6 minutes ago.
I'm just gonna call timeout here. I was not signed up for the Juwan Jennings slander that's clearly coming out of this conversation.
He took a step forward.
It's no, like again,
Yep.
once again, this is the for those of you who want to break the wall here, this is the downside of not getting into the rundown first. You don't get the prime players. Evan, this is a great pick. Totally on board with it 100%. And adding, compounding the injury issues was the horrible start he got. Like, it looked like he forgot how to play. Drive that price down, please.
Yes. We're all in on Aiyuk. If you're going to bet on a different wide receiver, I love the Juwan Jennings call out. Third and Juwan, great nickname.
Love him.
Let's get gross. How may I interest you in somebody that just signed a, pretty sizable contract for a wide receiver? He's tied to a very good quarterback. He plays in a role that it's unlikely they bring in somebody else that's going to compete with him for that role in the offense. I'm talking about Khalil Shakir. I mean, listen, he's going right now. Let's pull this up. I should have done that while Evan was waxing poetic about Brandon Aiyuk. He is the wide receiver 48. You can get him for the 212. You are not getting a wide receiver in this draft that is as good as Khalil Shakir at the 212. You might get him at the 102, 105, 106. I don't think there's a guy like Shakir that's going to go in, be the target hog in the offense, and be the target hog for a guy like Josh Allen. Thoughts on Khalil Shakir?
It's okay, right? Like I like a wide receiver 3 who can be a wide receiver 2 or 1 any given week, depending on how things play out. I also like them when they're even cheaper, maybe in their name Jacoby Myers, but hey, that's just me. I think that's the thing. Like this could be the greatest pickup of all time, depending on where you're at in your roster build, what your other receiving. But I think it depends some on your other receivers, like all these moves.
Still just 25 years old. It's nice. You're trying to turn this rebuild into a competing team 2026, 2027. You're going to get a guy that you can fit into. Look, I've seen your dynasty teams. You've sent me screenshots. You have 19 flexes, 7 wide receiver spots. Just go get your wide receiver 3, plug him in, say, check, done. And you don't have to roll the dice with that 212.
So Mike, is he the best pass catcher out of Kincaid, Palmer now, Coleman, and Shakir?
I think it's a stretch so far to call Kincaid a pass catcher. Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah. His target per route run was nasty. It's just he didn't run that many routes and he didn't catch the targets. But other than that, he was really good. Look, Shakir is the best receiver on the Bills, and I wish that was a joke. But look, dirt cheap, super young, going to be reliable for a long time. He just had 76, 821 yards and 4 touchdowns. Let's throw a couple more touchdowns in there, bump those targets up just a teensy-weensy bit, and you're talking about a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3-ish player that you can get dirt cheap right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some. I'm gonna give myself a point for that. You guys didn't like it, but I'm giving myself a point. Bob, who is your buy for a win now team?
So I'm looking to go on the cheap, and the perception becomes a reality in terms of pricing, and the perception of Adam Thielen is he's old and washed up. Unless you watch football, and then you would realize that over down the stretch last year with improving Bryce Young, and it was wide receiver 11 overall. Like, what stretch was that? There was a stretch where he's very good, but you can go back to the year before when Bryce Young was arguably the worst quarterback we'd ever seen as a starter over a consistent basis. And for the first 12 games, Adam Thielen was wide receiver 12. Finished the year as wide receiver 18. I think that that upside is there based on volume alone. Adam Thielen, for me, is a great play. I know there's some talented young receivers there, and as soon as they show any consistent production, it will be there first, and I'll congratulate them on it. In the meantime, an improving Bryce Young. Look, I don't think he's all that just yet, but man, you had to see the change when they went against the Chiefs last year, when he started looking like the guy that they told me he was when they drafted him. This ultra fast processor, ready to read defenses, ready to beat the blitz, did all those things. And I've been anti Bryce Young from the day I saw the training camp photo of him standing with his offensive line going, wait a minute, that guy's not playing football, is he? And it was a rough first year. I think he's coming around, but either way, whether we get the rookie version of Bryce Young or we get the late last season version of Bryce Young, Adam Thielen for me is a guy I think I could pry out of somebody's grip for a reasonable price.
Super reasonable price. That's another guy. Listen, you got 18 flex spots. Plug him in as one of your flexes. Get your eight targets for 60 yards, maybe a touchdown. Enjoy the 10 fantasy points. No notes. Also, 2 points because we like betting on the old guys for our win now teams. Evan, who is your crusty, rusty by? Well, he's not that crusty.
No, he's maybe a little rusty in the joints. You start getting above 30 in the NFL and the joints just don't work the way that they used to, back in his Green Bay days. We're going to go with another guy that's been in the news here recently, Davante Adams. I mean, look, we go back to everything that I said about Matt Stafford. So if you haven't watched our QB episode so far, go back, give our QB episode a watch. There's a lot of things to love about this Rams offense, especially the target consolidation. You're talking about Adams and Puka Nacua that if they both stay healthy this year, I think we could say 55, maybe even 60% of the target consolidation go to those two wide receivers in this offense. Often. Just keep pounding the rock over to them. Just keep slinging it as Stafford loves to do. That baseball background, that arm never gets tired. Come on, what are we doing here? And then you look at what Adams did this last season, 17.2 points per game, ninth. Yeah, tied for ninth with Mike Evans. Once again, 141 targets. Now, can I see 141 targets dropping? Sure. But can he still be in that 125 range? 100%. I think there's plenty in the realm of possibility for that to occur. You're talking about somebody who's going to be an absolute weapon in the red zone. You're talking about an explosive offense that's going to be going up and down the field, able to score on teams, be able to move the ball at their will. And hopefully he keeps up his reception percentage and hopefully balls from Matthew Stafford instead of, whatever he was dealing with this last season. Makes them, a little bit more efficient, we'll say, instead of just being a volume hog.
Yep.
Like I'm going to every league right now and trying to buy Davante Adams. You brought a tear to my eye, Evan. Thank you so much.
Evan, great call outs. This is why we keep you around here. I got one more dynasty buy for
Even with this shirt. This is like a bonus.
Yeah, it's awesome. Listen, did Chris Godwin die? No. What happened? We're talking about a top 10 wide receiver in points per game, dislocated his ankle, and he's already recovered from an ACL and MCL injury. It was a grueling return, and he came back to be the Chris Godwin that we know and love. He's still with Baker. He's still with Mike Evans taking some outside concerns. He's still the target hog in this offense. If you bought Jalen McMillan, I'm sorry. That's on you. There's so many ways that this goes well, and if you're a truly competing team, you can wait if he has a slow start to the season. So go back.
Which he didn't have last year. I mean, he was wide receiver 2 over that 7-game stretch, right? I mean, it's easy to people forget, and thank goodness for that.
Yep. Let the person that is, their season was derailed because Godwin got hurt. Now they think they can't compete. Go scoop them up on Fantasy Calc right now. 201 gets it done. There's not a receiver you're getting around the 112, 201 that is Chris Godwin. Level of talent, I'll wait on the injury, and I'll just compete for 3 years because the Bucs just threw a bag at him. I feel like that's probably, let's say, 7 points. So we're all tied at 11.
Fair.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out written content, head over to lastwordonsports.com.
Don't the Goblins get you.